Super Smash Bros. You know it, you love it, and Nintendo loves it too because it makes them money. 2018's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was supposed to be the last game, but Masahiro Sakurai said that there would be more Smash Bros. Games as long as the hype is still there. And there's a lot of hype. The last game was 8 years ago, so we're due now for the next one. And this has led to so much speculation. Will it be a reboot? Can they top Smash Ultimate? Well, I have my own predictions, and I'd like to share them. So today, I'm gonna predict the character roster for the next Super Smash Bros. Game. Before we get into that, I'd like to lay down some rules. First, this is going to be realistic. So this roster will not have Goku, Freddy Fazbear, SpongeBob, or Shrek. 2, returning characters will be judged based on their legacy in Smash Bros. And how relevant they are. For example, the Mother series is dead, but Ness will stay because he's popular in Smash Bros. And finally, this is just my opinion, don't take it to heart. I don't want to hear any Corrin fans telling me I should have added them over Marth. So, with all that said, let's get into it. Let's start with the most iconic gaming series, Super Mario. Of course, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser are all staying. They are practically the most iconic video game characters, and there can't really be a new Smash Bros. Without them. And I think they should all get something new. Mario should have his stuff from Mario Wonder. Luigi should use his Poltergust more, and maybe have Polterpup. Princess Peach 100% should have the stuff from the Showtime game. And I think Bowser's final smash should be replaced with Fury Bowser. And I think that Rosalina and Luma, Bowser Jr., and Daisy should all return as well. Rosalina and Bowser Jr. are already super iconic, and with the new Mario Galaxy movie, it pretty much guarantees them to be in. And I think Daisy can stay with major reworks to make her moveset more different from Peach, while also being able to represent the sports games. This does mean that Dr. Mario and Piranha Plant are unfortunately cut. I love Dr. Mario, but he hasn't gotten anything since that mobile game that got deleted, so he's better off as one of Mario's costumes. And Piranha Plant was funny, but he's lost his novelty since then. And for this series, we have one newcomer, Toad. Whether it be regular or captain, he's the most iconic character not in the game yet, and I think he deserves a spot more than Waluigi. With over 40 years of appearances, there's so many things he could do. His pickaxe, turnips, all the different Toad colors, power-ups, and more. However, it might be difficult to implement Captain Toad because he can't jump, and you kinda need to do that in Smash Bros. So that's why I find normal Toad to be more likely, but whatever, let's move on. Oh yeah, and Yoshi and Wario stay with no new characters or cuts. Next is the Donkey Kong series, and DK, Diddy Kong, and King K. Rool all stay, with Donkey Kong getting his new redesign and adding the Kong Bonanza to his final smash. Diddy Kong also gets redesigned, but the main change is that he becomes a duo fighter with Dixie Kong. Like in Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong will be a swap-out tag team, with Dixie Kong being faster and having more mobility, and slightly different moves from Diddy Kong. The next series is The Legend of Zelda, and Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf all stay, with Link and Ganon getting reworks and redesigns to match Tears of the Kingdom. Ganondorf might need the biggest rework out of any character. Anyway, we are cutting Young Link, Toon Link, and Sheik. I'd rather not have many clone fighters, and Sheik is replaced because there is a way better character for the role. And that is Impa. Any version really. The normal version, the one from Age of Calamity, maybe just not the old lady version, but I mean, they can add old characters like Cranky Kong and even... Though I don't know much about Impa, they should still get in the game. They're very highly requested, and it would be some good Hyrule Warriors representation. And since The Legend of Zelda hasn't gotten anything since 2008, I'm gonna add a second character, and that is Vaati, one of the villains from The Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, I think. I know most people want Skull Kid, but Vaati has appeared more than him, and I think The Legend of Zelda needs the best representation possible, and I think this is pretty good if we're replacing Toon Link. Besides, the Smash Bros. Roster needs more villains. The characters for Metroid will be Samus, Ridley, and Dark Samus. Of course, Samus would have a lot more reworks to have stuff from Metroid Dread and Prime 4. And I hope they bring back the thing where when you use Samus's final smash, she turns into Zero Suit Samus. I just thought it was neat. This series deserves one new rep, and I think it should be Ravenbeak. Like with Skull Kids, some people will probably want Psylocke instead, but let's be real, Nintendo would make that as a DLC. Plus, Ravenbeak would have a much more unique moveset. I guess he could work as a boss fight too, but let's be real, Mother Brain would be a way better boss fight for the Metroid series. Up next, we have the Kirby series, and Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede all stay. They are just too iconic to be cut, and King Dedede will get a redesign based on Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Like every other series so far, Kirby gets a new rep, and that's Bandana Waddle Dee, the most requested Smash Bros. Character, and for good reason. Kirby needed something new, and a spear fighter would be awesome to add to the roster. Now we move on to the Pokémon series, and this is the most marketable franchise in the whole world. You bet it's getting a ton of characters. Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Mewtwo, Pokemon Trainer, Lucario, and Greninja all return. I've heard arguments that Jigglypuff should be cut, but if she hasn't been cut before, I don't think she should be in this. And we're adding... It's Meowscarada. Honestly, who else could I have picked? Actually, I considered a lot of Pokemon, but it does seem that it's the most popular for now, and a magic-using Pokemon could be fun. Mewtwo and Lucario do not exist, but I can't rule out the possibility of Generation 10 being out by then. In that case, it'd be one of the final evolutions for these starters. Fire Emblem is next, and we are cutting some stuff here. I think Marth, Robin, and Byleth can definitely stay. Marth is the mascot, while Robin and Byleth are from very important games. And while we're at it, let's add Roy because of his legacy in Smash Bros. So, this means we're cutting Ike, Corrin, Lucina, and Chrom. I love Ike, but I personally prefer Roy more, and I think he should stay. I don't think anyone disagrees with removing Corrin. And if I added Lucina and Chrom, there would be too many Fire Emblem characters. And there's gonna be one more new character, and it's Alear. I know nothing whatsoever about Fire Emblem, but summoning a bunch of other characters sounds awesome, and also it's the most relevant new character. The final big series is Xenoblade Chronicles, and Shulk and Pyra and Mythra come back. No changes, no cuts, but we add Mio to the roster. Again, I don't know a thing about this series, but a fighter that uses rings sounds kinda cool. Alright, we got the major series done, now let's do a little lightning round. Fox, Falco, Ness, Captain Falcon, Inkling, Villager, Isabelle, Olimar, Pit, Little Mac, Mr. Game & Watch, Min Min, and the Mii's all stay. Ice Climbers, Lucas, Wolf, Dark Pit, Palutena, Rob, Wii Fit Trainer, and Duck Hunter cut, and Octoling is added as an Echo Fighter to Inkling. Alright, so we currently have 55 characters. Next, I'm gonna add the third-party characters, and please take this with a spoonful of salt, because it isn't easy to predict which companies will be greedy and lock their characters behind DLC. I'm looking at you, Square Enix. I think most companies should get 1 to 2 characters in total. Alright, so now let's get into that. Our first company is Sega, and they bring back Sonic and Joker, and they cut Bayonetta. I don't know, man, I just don't like Bayonetta. And I'm obviously adding Shadow the Hedgehog. Seriously, how is he not already in the game? I think he has enough potential in his moveset to be more of a semi-clone character rather than an Echo Fighter. I could have picked Eggman as well, but I feel like Shadow is more iconic these days. Next, we're adding Ryu and Mega Man, 2 very iconic characters, and Ryu will be redesigned to look like his appearance in Street Fighter 6. One newcomer is added, being Chun-Li. If any series deserves an extra fighter, it's Street Fighter. You know, the fighting game. And replacing a simple Echo Fighter for a more unique character sounds like a win to me. Oh yeah, by the way, we're cutting Ken if you didn't know. Up next, Banjo and Kazooie and Steve return. Okay, Banjo would have been in the game since Melee if Microsoft did not buy Rare. And I know people hate Steve, but they should just nerf him then. I mean, he's one of the most iconic video game characters, they're not just gonna get rid of him. In terms of standalone characters, we have Pac-Man, Cloud, Simon, and Terry. These characters are all iconic enough to avoid cuts and remain in the game. But Snake, Richter, Hero, Sephiroth, Kazuya, and Sora aren't so lucky. I do wish Sephiroth, Sora, and Hero could all stay, but I think Smash Bros. Would lock them behind DLC because of stupid Square Enix. Now, to end things off, we have 4 third-party series that are new, and the first one is Doomslayer. Okay, I know Nintendo probably wouldn't do this because Doom isn't okay for the target audience, but can you imagine how cool this would be? It's such an iconic series, it even got its own Mii costume back in Ultimate. I think it could happen. However, if I was letting my personal bias take over, I would have picked V1 from Ultra Kill. With the rise of indie gaming, I think it is inevitable that we will see one in Super Smash Bros, and I have picked 3 characters for that. The first one is Shovel Knight. This guy is the first big indie game character, with his game coming out in 2014, predating Undertale and Hollow Knight, and I don't think the industry would have been as big if he didn't exist. Plus, he already has the assist trophy. It'd be so easy to add him. For our second character, we have Shantae, and I hardly know anything about this character at all. I'm sorry. Shantae is from the earlier days of indie gaming like Shovel Knight, and according to many people, she has great potential for a moveset, so I think that's why she is our second to last character. And for our final character in the roster, we have a Toby Fox character, but not just any Toby Fox character, we have Chris. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Undertale as well, and I thought I could have added Frisk or Sans, but I just couldn't think of any moveset ideas. Chris, on the other hand, their game has a more traditional battle system, and I think it would be a lot more fun, but either way, it's inevitable that we get a Toby Fox fighter, since Sakurai and Toby are friends, and we also got the Sans Mii costume, of course. So, our roster ends at 71 characters, just a bit smaller than Ultimate's base game roster. But, do you guys want me to continue this? Do you want free updates? DLC? Other stuff? Let me know. I'm thinking of turning this into a whole series. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!